This is a time where people are also caring for their health. Earlier, preventative mindset was not there. Even now, it's not there, but it's much, much better. These are some of the good things that COVID has done to the world, right? People do care about their health now, and they know what not being healthy can mean to the world. I mean, it's really, really important. So that is that, right? Um, and also there's a lot of higher budget we see, right? The Indian government and other governments are putting. So even the government has realized that health is an important sector and increasing the budget. I think these two things, and also this huge amount of problems here, right? Unsolved, especially if you look at affordable, accessible healthcare. Technology can make a huge difference because they can provide like additional skills and expertise to the lower skilled people in the framework, and enable scalability to the doctors. So there's a huge opportunity.
This is Siddharth Alwalia. Welcome to the 100x Entrepreneur Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Prime Venture Partners, an early stage VC fund led by Amit Somani, Shripati Acharya and Sanjay Swami. Prime is often the first institutional investor in category creating tech startups in fintech, SaaS, healthcare and education such as MyGate, Quizzes, MFine. To know more about Prime, visit primevp.in. Today I have with me Geetha Manjunath, founder, CEO and CTO of Niramai. Niramai is one of the leading healthcare technology companies of India that uses machine learning to detect and diagnose breast cancer using simple thermographic images. Geetha has over 25 years of experience in IT research and has led many innovative projects in healthcare. Until the end of 2016, she was lab director heading data analytics research in Xerox, India. Prior to that, she was principal research scientist at Hewlett Packard Lab for 17 years and a member of CDAC team, which built the first commercial supercomputer from India. She holds PhD in computer science from Indian Institute of Science and management education from Kellogg School of Management, Chicago. Her company, Niramai, is the only Indian company listed in the 2019 cohort of AI 100 startups in the world by Global Business Data Intelligence Platform, CB Insights. Geetha has also been recognized as the Women Entrepreneur 2020 by Economic Times. She's also on the list of Forbes list top 20 self-made women this year. Geetha also has 16 US patents to her name and more pending. She was awarded recently Accenture Vahini Innovator of the Year Award by Economic. Geetha, you have so many accomplishments. First of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Siddharth. It's my pleasure to be part of this.
Whatever, so first I want to ask you, so many achievements, like it's the longest introduction in the history of 100x Entrepreneur podcast. What has been the drive behind you being such a big achiever?
Yeah, I don't know about the big achievement or whether achievement is based on sort of, your size of the profile. Thanks for doing all the research to figure out, things about me and writing this up. And thanks a lot for inviting me to this forum to. So I don't think like there's no mantra as such for the success, but I would, maybe share a few things that may be useful to the audience. So one is, I believe in this sort of karma yoga aspect of it. That is basically, this is Bhagavad Gita, third chapter and all, where we talk about do the job for the fun of the job itself. Any task that you do, right? Do it for the actual task, not for the results, right? I think that's very, very important. And of course, we've all heard this, saying and so on. But actually, if you try to do that, just put 100% into the activity and enjoy the activity rather than sort of, do it for the results. I say whether you're studying for an exam, you are, obviously doing an entrepreneurship where there's a lot of ups and downs, and obviously there's no sort of end goal. usually go after. But of course, if the direction you're going is because you enjoy the direction, because you have some kind of a sort of a bigger goal beyond yourself as a goal, right? So I think that will take you through, right? That's how I would say, right? And on in that path, of course, there's a lot of learning. So I also believe in um, learning something new every day, and so on. So being open and all of that. I think that takes you along. You'll have friends along who will come and help you sort of achieve the bigger goal that we talked about, and so on. Yeah.
Geeta, tell us your journey from your family background to your childhood. So, what have been the key beats in the string of life of Geetha Manjunath, if I can ask?
Sure. The very young Geetha Manjunath, which I am no more, was a very, very shy girl. I have one brother and one sister. My parents were very traditional. Having said that, my father and mother kind of, believed in giving what the child likes. So, for example, if I have to study something, whatever you like, you study. For example, at my 12th stage, where like Barbie, right, where you have only two options possible at that time, like doctor or engineer. So I managed to get both, very top college in both the streams. And everyone said, you're a girl, you have to do Dr. Giri. This is long, long ago. But I've always been in love with science and maths and so on, thanks to my father, who was like a key motivator for me to be in that area. And I was very sure that I want to spend my life not doing biology, but it's a completely different thing that now full circle, and I'm looking at engineering application in biology as such. But that's how it was, and my father completely supported. My choice in terms of doing engineering, computer science. I did in at that time a top college. Even now I guess UBCE we call it. And then my dream was to get into IISc because I went there for a couple of projects and I really loved the academic air in that. And thankfully I did well in my engineering and got into got into my master's program at computer science automation department in IISc. And then that I think also changed my outlook about technology, outlook about things. IISc is a place where there's a lot of research air around. I know the professors are very, very strict, extremely knowledgeable, and you feel like a small dust, because there's so much more to learn, right? Not that you kind of just realize how little you know, literally. And with that sort of a feeling and support for research, so IISc kind of enables a lot of innovative thinking, and that's sort of pretty much our open book tests all the time. And so that gave me an inkling of what innovation can do in terms of your own satisfaction of solving the problem. Like I said, that the task itself should be fun, not necessarily the end results, right? So in that sense, enjoying doing something that nobody has done before, it's something that I learned from there, and I started thoroughly enjoying it to the extent that whatever I do, be it like cooking or any of that, I'm still thinking, can I sort of mix and do something new? Let's say that enjoying the newness of doing things is something I learned there. Then I joined as one of the proud team members of the first supercomputer from India, from CDAC, and that was my dream job. I didn't want to go abroad, like more a nationalist in my Indian thinking. So so I went there, and it was also a very nice activity at CDAC, where we did a lot of research to bring out Param and Paras. Then Hewlett Packard was starting a research lab in India, and they looked around and they contacted me, and I thought it was a good opportunity to prove what Indians can do to the world, right, in terms of research and innovation. So I accepted that job, and it was a small team, but I had an opportunity to go every year to the US and work with my Palo Alto colleagues, present what we have come up with, newer ideas, business ideas, research ideas, and also prototypes and so on. It was completely innovation kind of mindset. And that also gave me exposure to international research, right? How they think not just about publication, but really about, making things happen on the ground, right? And so that was a huge, nice exposure and eye opener for me. When I could see research getting on the ground, making a difference in the lives of people. So I think, it kind of molded, started enjoying research that was actually making an impact rather than publication itself, right? Which typically researchers tend to do. And in parallel, I also did my PhD at IISc, and tried like dabbled around with a couple of ideas within Hewlett Packard itself, as an entrepreneur, proposing multiple things for the business and new products for the business and so on. Great mentors at Hewlett Packard as well. And then when Xerox research was starting off their data analytics research, they contacted me, and so I accepted that. And there I was more of a mentor and kind of senior manager, where uh, helping young researchers, both international and national academicians, I would say, trying to think business, trying to think impact, so that was great. And this also required me to go in front of customers, potential customers, ideate and create pilots and so on. And that is how it was. And yeah, I mean, suddenly I am here, an entrepreneur. I'll talk more about it. Maybe I'll let you.
And which city were you born and brought up in?
Everything was Bangalore. I've been a Bangalorean. Of course, I've traveled quite a bit abroad, in many, many countries. My daughter keeps counting how many countries. I think I've reached more than 25 now. And yeah, so that gives me a perspective of the world to some extent, right? And I really love interacting with people of common mindset and so on. And there's so much commonality across different countries, I feel, right? And there's also, of course, differences. So when you try to see this, you can also think about products and solutions which are addressing the commonality. Obviously, you can always see the difference, but there's also commonality, right? Once you see that, it's a product for the world. So several learnings along the way.
How did you stumble upon the problem you're currently solving at Niramai?
Yeah, so that's what. So when I was, a lab director for analytics research in the previous organization, um, I was interacting with multiple doctors, collaborating with our, even senior colleagues at the US and so on. And so around that time, one of my cousin sisters got detected with breast cancer. Her name was Bharti, and we were very close. We used to meet every summer or even before, like and a few years elder to me. And suddenly, she was detected with stage 4 cancer, breast cancer, and the doctor said a few more kind of months and all that. Of course, she did. She recovered a bit with her surgery, but it relapsed, and she's no more with us. And in the same spirit, there's another close relative of mine also got detected, and she was much younger. And that is the time when I thought, like, what is this? It was very, very shocking, and I saw how the whole episode affected the whole family. And then I said, okay, started reading about it. And so, being in technology, solving so many problems in India and outside, here is a problem which is taking away 90,000 lives in India alone, and more than 600,000 lives around the world, when breast cancer is a completely curable type of cancer, right? So how can technology help? And that's what I started thinking about, discussing with my friends, discussing with imaging experts to see, is mammography the only solution? Well, it doesn't work on women under 45. And this is where we're seeing more and more cases coming up, instances coming up. And during that process, I did meet Dr. Mesta, who mentioned about thermal imaging being used for breast cancer earlier, long, long ago. And I said, okay, why not experiment? Given that there's so much advancement that has happened in the algorithmic space, right? Where we have machine-based intelligence, computer vision, and so on. So we started experimenting this combination of thermography and imaging as a like quote unquote side project, and also a couple of exploratory project. A few members I added as a lab director, and then yeah, I mean, I thought there is something in here, and decided to quit my previous organization to start Niramai along with my few team members. Yeah.
And what are the key milestones that Niramai has achieved till now since start?
I think personally, I feel it is, we have come a long way. Of course, we have a longer way to go. But, I never thought when I just jumped out of my previous organization along with Nidhi, who's my colleague at that time, and, and also Shiva and Himanshu, two other colleagues, technical colleagues. I never know what it's going to be like an entrepreneur, because I've always been within a cushion of the corporate environment, and of course led big teams. But there's more to entrepreneurship than just managing teams or managing programs or projects. Um, Within about 6 months or so, we were able to convince a hospital to provide this solution in their hospital. As a reference customer, BMS Hospital gave this as a test in their own hospital. So that I think was a major thing, because here is a way of providing uh, privacy aware screening to women, and do it in a remote fashion using SaaS, right? Using cloud and so on. So you can have doctors come in and see the reports or images as and when needed, or whenever there is doubt. And also having tools like what we developed, the software analysis, thermalytics that we call it, as the engine which generates these scores, and it's a more of quantitative analysis of imaging versus this. Um, Most of all, having women come in and actually use this test, take the test, which is safe, of course, but still believe in it and to take it, right? To get to this, we need to cover the medical legal issues. We need to definitely cover clinical issues. And finally, we should never do anything wrong to the end user, right? We are here to save lives, and we cannot just put this in front of the women just because, we are entrepreneurs and we want to try this out, right? We shouldn't do any harm to the patient. So getting all this right within 6 to 8 months time and putting in our reference customer location was, I think it's a biggest milestone. Of course, this involved discussions with hospitals, discussions with doctors, doing a small clinical trial, and also having doctors who are willing to sort of accept our report and give authentic, screening impressions, or what you call as observations at the end of the preventative screening. And then I think the next mind, so this also required us to sort of, get the product right, at least the first version of the product that can be used by others, not just our own team, right? So that was also very nice. And I think the next big milestone was to understand the limits of this, right? For example, we wanted to see whether this test can be done only inside a hospital, or do we really, can we support this large scale adoption, right, in rural and other places. So we partnered with Karnataka Cancer Society. And, this was the time where, Nidhi and I used to sort of actually go the van to sort of rural parts to see how it is to do a camp and so on. That kind of, gave us an understanding of limits and, what are the additional requirements of doing this test, right? For example, we had to make the test work in the hands of simple health workers, who initially even didn't know how to type in left. When you say left breast, LEFT, echo, LETF, there are lots of literacy related issues also. And obviously we had to handle that. And then they used to make mistakes. We obviously we had to ask for re-imaging initially, right? So all of that was a big thing. And then when you go outside, you cannot assume that even though there is a air conditioner in the room, that it actually works. So that how do you take care of these ground realities of making the screening work? I think the limits were really. And another thing is also, we said, okay, can we just put a curtain between the laptop the device that is doing the thermal screening. And Bingo basically became completely privacy aware solution where the technician could be other side of the screen and the lady who's getting screening is one side. So this also gave us some kind of understanding of additional value proposition that will make more women come forward. I think there's again a lot of learning in the first one or two deployments and so on. So with this screening kind of an experience, we said, okay, why not we provide this as a corporate screening so that, because women hesitate to come to a hospital, come to a cancer hospital for a test. Can we take the test to themselves, right? So that way. And then, so we started providing corporate screening in offices. And, the kind of response we got from women was like really, really wonderful, right? Initially, when we did the, announced a corporate camp. I remember very well. This was in one of the companies in Bangalore. Uh, we announced and four people registered. I said, like, what is the use? We've announced and only four people registered because there was this apprehension. What is this breast cancer about? I don't have symptoms. Do I need to do screening and all that? After the first two people went through our test, right, they went out and called the whole office in. Trust me, like I was there in the camp till late evening, 7:30, 8 p.m. Our team wanted to go home because it's a little far away from the, how Bangalore traffic is and all that. And yeah, I mean, we had to extend it by another day and so on and so forth. So I think this, learning of the experience and how do we make the experience of the patient, really seamless so they feel good and come for these kind of screening procedures is also very, very important in this whole game. So like that, and right now, fast forward, we've done about 33,000 screenings, and we've got partners such as HCG Hospital. We have partners like Apollo Clinics, Health Spring, BMS Hospital, CMI, and also screening partners and, like I would say, B2C partners like 1MG also, right? All of them, Nightingale and all of them, to take a solution to lots and lots of women. Last but not the least, COVID taught us much, much more. I mean, people are not coming to hospitals, but cancer is not going to wait because COVID is around, right? So we innovated, expanding our screening experience, I would say. We have now launched home screening of cancer for the first time, home screening of breast health for the first time, where women who have some symptoms or not even a symptom, but they just want regular screening can just register from our website on our website and sort of, get our team to visit their home and get the screening done within half an hour. So I think this is also an extremely learning experience and a lot of innovation that our team, is able to support and, respond to the occasion that COVID has thrown at us. It's been a great learning.
Please help me understand that worldwide till now, mammogram has been the main device for breast cancer screening, right? How is the technology at Niramai like uh, better than mammogram? And like,
Yeah. So, see, mammogram is good, and actually, it's one of in fact, it's the only test which is proven to increase increase the survival rates of women in terms of really large clinical trials and so on. Uh, it's good, but it does have limitations, right? For example, it does not work on women under 45 years of age because what we call as dense breast, the kind of fibroglandular tissue that many women who are like above 45 also have this, and also younger women definitely have this. So the whole breast appears white, and you're not able to find a white spot, which is likely cancer there. And so this is a big limitation, and which again, people are becoming aware. Clinicians are able to mention this to the end users. In fact, there are rules which say that people need to know the overall breast density to see whether mammography result can be dependent upon or not. The other aspect is also affordability and accessibility angle, which is a big deal for countries like India, where a 3,000, 4,000 rupees test cannot be administered for everyone. Even a working lady will think twice, before paying that much, because we are talking about every person going through screening once a year, right? Irrespective of whether she has, symptoms or not. And so that sort of is another second limitation. And also the machine itself is so expensive. The capex is so high that small diagnostic centers are not able to provide this test. And so this again increases the accessibility issues that these tests show, because women hesitate to go to a cancer hospital for screening. So that's another big issue. Again, last but not the least, the radiation-based test, which is something that I'm completely against of. How can you use X-rays to detect cancer when every test can beat by a small amount, but if you can increase the risk, of exposure and risk for cancer. So that's sort of the big gaps. And at Niramai, what we have done is to basically use thermal sensing, as you introduced in the beginning, where we just measure the temperature variations on the chest. And we've innovated on the analysis, quantitative analysis of these temperature points. So like per person, we measure 400,000, that is 4 lakh temperature points with these high resolution, high sensitivity thermal sensors, thermal cameras. And then, so once you have that much of data per person, you definitely need a smart engine to analyze that to say whether something's going wrong. And when there is a lesion, it turns out that there are some thermal patterns which can be called abnormal, and a combination of these multiple thermal patterns is what, very roughly, what a machine learning algorithm is able to model and detect. And that's what we do. And so what we have done is create this technology we call thermalytics, which is a combination of thermal imaging and AI. And we provide this end-to-end solution to the hospitals and diagnostic center, which now is non-contact, non-invasive. Like I said, it's completely privacy aware, where nobody touches or sees the person. It's completely radiation free because we use just temperature on the skin. It does work on women of all age groups because it does not depend on density. It just depends on body temperature, and which all of us have similar. It does work on male as well, not just for women. And finally, it is much more affordable. And because it is affordable, both OpEx and CapEx wise, it can also be provided in small diagnostic centers, which increases accessibility hugely. So that's what we have
What's the cost
been
per
able to
test
do.
to a person?
So in a hospital, it's about one third the cost of a mammography test, sorry, which basically can be around 1,500 rupees in India. Um, this is a detailed report signed by radiologists and so on. When we go for triaging, you can't wait for a doctor's review for because the camp is so huge and people will, just go home right to the test. So it has to be real time. So it's also an innovation we learned, and we kind of had to make the engine so robust and so accurate that we're able to confidently give a provisional reporting completely automatically with health workers, administering this test. And of course, because it's all cloud hosted, whenever there is a doubt, you can hit a button and then we get the experts online, right, to review it as needed. And so this is almost 100 rupees per test, assuming the hardware is covered.
In camps, you are mentioning whenever there's a
Yeah,
camp.
in rural areas where it's a triaging, yeah.
And today, at how many locations is the device and the technology deployed, if you count?
Yeah, so initial few months, we focused only on Bangalore, and we had a Hyderabad partner who is a very Gold Coast partner. So now we have it in 15 cities in India, established in multiple like Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, Mysore, Pune, Bhubaneswar, Dehradun, all of these places, Bhopal, all of these places we do have the test available. With the home screening coming along, we do provide this test in many more, outskirts of these areas as well. And we've started a new program for what we call as nano entrepreneurs who are homemakers generally, but they do have some spare time and they want to do some kind of a service to women around them. So we train them, provide the skills needed so that they can provide home screening around their own locations, be it in tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. And this is a program we have newly launched. We are just going through the trainings and so on and so forth right now.
So, Geeta,
So that kind of expands beyond tier 1. Yeah.
it's been a phenomenal journey, I believe, in the last 4 years, what you have been and your team has been able to accomplish. So how has been the fundraising part of your journey been as an entrepreneur? What were the challenges during that part, and what are the challenges currently which you think you face to scale it to, let's say, 100 cities in India, and maybe even abroad in developed markets or other developed markets?
Yeah. I think the challenges of fundraisers same for all entrepreneurs. For healthcare, it becomes slightly difficult because um, the time to market is a little slower. So if you just go by the financial metrics, obviously there will be much more attractive startups. But if it's like risk versus reward, right? How big a bet? How many venture VCs or angel investors would take that big bet, right? And uh, make a call as to, yes, this is probably a breakthrough innovation for breast screening. Um, will the team go ahead and break the barriers of a very well established test, right? This is a question that most investors had. I mean, yeah, of course that doubt is still there, but thankfully we do have 30,000 plus women who are able to come and stand in front of us and like take the test. It's the trust of the end users, and we have 70 plus hospitals who have actually fully convinced their doctors, convinced their management to actually give this test, which means there is some stuff. And of course we do have clinical validation with this. So initially, when we didn't have any of these, we just had an algorithm, and I think um, I think the main person who trusted in this is from Pi Ventures, Manish Singhal and Umakant, where we met. The second day itself, they said there is really something in this technology, and we were able to close the first round funding, the seed round, pretty quickly, and we were under some pressure to raise that fund also, because every machine at that time was costing 25 lakhs. So even to do some simple stuff, it was a lot of money for us to start with. And this was also, I mean, like, you have to buy the device, right? So that way. And after that, of course, in that round, we had Axeler and Ankur Capital. The Series A was slightly more longer because now we had about 2 years of work, and we to really show the results. And we met people we raised 6 million in the Series A. Nidhi and I actually met multiple investors this time. Many more investors than we met in seed round, maybe 40, 50 investors, right? Where you really have to find an alignment of the vision, alignment of the direction where we are going, and also, patient, investors who can wait till we actually sort of grow to the scale. I think still, of course, we had Japanese investors who completely believed in us. Dream Incubator came in as a lead investor. Then we have BNext and a couple of strategic investors also coming in. That fundraise really helped us so that we could actually get on board further experienced leaders on our board. We had a chief business officer who joined in, Surajit. We had multiple senior people join in, and also grow the team from both skills as well as breadth and depth, I would say, right? So that was good. And yeah, I mean, right now we're about 55 plus people. Everyone is charged, aligned with vision, and also our investor team. I would still call it investor team, is really like an extended team for us, because they're also so aligned and so want to be engaged with what we're doing. And it's been fun. Recently, we almost finished our audit for our European regulatory and so on. So we're very excited to move forward and look forward to the next round, hopefully later this year or next year. Yeah, it's been very encouraging. The investors have been also super networking help, right, to connect with the right potential partners and so on. Yeah, I mean, there are many challenges, but I think as an entrepreneur, you have to try to sit in the shoes of the investor and then say, okay, vision is good. I want to do this for good of the human being. But at the end of the day, even the finances have to make sense, right? You need to have all the stories and all the, homework ready for you, like in terms of market size, what are the business models you have, what product market fit do you see. So if you, um, in the first meeting, you will not have everything. Once you get the questions, you go back home, try to sort of, learn and build the story right. And then if you are able to meet the investors with the right vision and right focus in terms of the theme of investing, thesis of investing, I think it is still possible. I mean, if there is a good idea, there will always be a good investor who's interested in it.
And being a healthcare startup in India, especially in the hardware plus software sector, right? It's just not distribution of medicines like with most startups are there, or just chain of diagnostics. It's very key technology. What have been the the major roadblocks in your journey besides the one you just mentioned? And do you think is there a time that India can really innovate in healthcare? Like, what would be the key factors?
Uh, Definitely, I think this is the time India can innovate in healthcare. So that's an easy answer. Let me go with that first. Because this is the time where people are also caring for their health. Earlier, preventative mindset was not there. Even now, it's not there, but it's much, much better. These are some of the good things that COVID has done to the world, right? People do care about their health now, and they know what not being healthy can mean to the world. I mean, it's really, really important. So that is that, right? Um, and also there's a lot of higher budget we see, right? The Indian government and other governments are putting. So even the government has realized that health is an important sector and increasing the budget. I think these two things, and also this huge amount of problems here, right? Unsolved, especially if you look at affordable, accessible healthcare, technology can make a huge difference because, they can provide like additional skills and expertise to the lower skilled, people in the framework, and enable scalability to the doctors. So there's a huge opportunity, and there are thousands of diseases to be solved, right? And there's no dearth of diseases that you want. There are no dearth of issues here we want to solve, right? So this is definitely a great time to do a healthcare startup. In terms of sort of other challenges, um, clinical efficacy of the result is very, very important. We can't say we will do a health tech startup and go with a lab level, result. Trying to show this work on real patients of walking into a hospital and trying to show that your solution is in some form, maybe result wise, experience wise, anything in some form, it's better than the current solution. Showing that cannot be in your slide deck or inside a lab. It has to be on the real ground. I think there's a huge difference between the two platforms. Very interesting. And that also for a disease like cancer, it's a big deal, because I know it's a decision. A screening is a decision of saying yes or no, a person has abnormality or no abnormality, and it's one of the biggest news that the lady can get. I guess worst news that a lady can get if she's positive. So it's a really critical decision that a machine is now, claiming to do, right? In our case. So you can imagine the amount of scrutiny that our solution would have gone through, right? When we say we'll go to our HCD doctor and say, you're a cancer specialist, and you can use our tool to say whether somebody has cancer or not. I mean, it's a big thing, right? Big leap of faith in AI, leap of faith in the technology like thermography and so on. So this was, I think, the hardest of the challenges we have faced so far, right? To prove the clinical efficacy. And we didn't do any shortcut. We said, okay, fine, let's try it out on your own patients. And we took the exam very, blindly, in the sense like as they wanted, in the sense like not looking at the answers and so on and so forth. And I think that was one of the main things. And getting these clinicians, doctors, essentially, basically, as our partners was very, very crucial because they give us the gyan that, as an engineer or scientist, you're not able to relate to. So merging the minds of clinician and the engineer, then I think that was very critical in solving many of these sort of the the solution which is in between the clinical and AI space. I think that is one of the biggest challenge that we face. And also the second one is a mindset one. Mindset is one, AI will replace doctors. So that is one mindset that we have to say, no, this is going to just help you, right? When they are your customers and if they are having this negative mindset, how do you kind of, get this going? So that's the second one. And third one is also thermography has had a lot of some kind of a bad mouthing before because some people have misused it and so on. So getting that right and proving that we are even better, definitely better than thermography, setting these trials in place so that we prove it on the ground. So still, even now, when we go to customers, especially very, very reputed doctors, they'll say, can you do a, free test for 100 of my patients, 30 patients, whatever, my toughest of the patients before I accept. So we do go through this clinical evaluation in formal way continuously. And I think that is a challenge we are willing to take because we are here to prove that this works. I mean, we have evolved from like learning how and now we are confident that it is actually working. And so we are open to take those challenges of, people testing this out before buying and so on. And anyone who has tested actually has sort of gone ahead and bought the solution. So yeah, a lot of challenges, I guess, in scaling as well. And kind of leadership positions, people come in, but when they see these big challenges, they get discouraged sometimes. And it's important to sort of, take the leadership team with you and give them the courage. I mean, you can only do as much as we can, but yeah, it's very challenging in general. People enjoy challenges, will love the job of an entrepreneur, I guess.
And you have both the roles of the CEO and the CTO in the company. So I think that must again, take a lot of bandwidth because you are heading the tech team as well as the business team as well as all the key decisions regarding the fundraise. Do you think, right, at some moment you will start, you know, uh, hiring for those positions and focus on innovation because you have been an innovator throughout your life?
I don't know. Yeah, definitely we have already now hired very senior leaders. Also, we have a head of engineering now, we have head of products, and also head of data science right now. So um, because this is a technology-led solution, right? I do not handle any day-to-day technology, issues anymore at all. We do have very, very able people there. I just give a guidance when they're stuck because we are trying to do something very new. I mean, that nobody else has done before, and so there is going to be some challenges and kind of roadblocks, and that's only when I get involved. Um, you will see many successful companies who have technology leaders, especially when you're trying to do innovation. I think it's very important for the head of the organization to know about the product as well. I mean, it's not just sales at all, right? We have not, especially for healthcare, pure sales will take some time, right? And whenever it's ready to um, be accepted by people, which is accepted by people, which already has, I'm very, very happy to give any of the CXO roles to anyone who is more capable than me to take this forward. Absolutely. I have no hassles or no love for the chair. I really love the impact that the product can do, and whatever it takes to make that happen, I'm fine. No issues.
What do you think? At what point, you estimate that there will be an inflection point where currently you have to convince hospitals that you have reached a very high milestone, like 70 hospitals supporting you, 33 patients taken. What will be the inflection point where there will be a demand, like huge demand, coming, where you don't have to go and sell it?
Yeah. So I think now we are almost in that stage for India, right? Right now, let's say for screening, nobody ever asks a question. I mean, we just go for it. I mean, because I think we have proven enough. We have shown many results in that space we have good partners. For hospitals also, there is, they only want to see whether it will work in their condition. Sometimes one day camp is all that they ask for, which is also fine. And with big hospitals chains coming in, I think in India we are finding a lot of positive traction already. Not much effort for sales as we used to have before. Recently, as I mentioned, we also got an ISO 13485 clearance, as in we finished the audit and we're expecting the certificate anytime, and also a CE marking. So that has given us, I believe, is going to be a huge inflection point, which we have just reached, I would say, for not just in India, for several other countries in the Asian area, as well as Europe and several other regions as well. And so that, I'm very glad to say that hopefully within the next month, we will actually have the certificate to show and say that, yeah, we've reached that inflection point. And so the way it works is that basically you have new frontiers to take care of. Let's say international expansion is a different kind of frontier, right? So wherever there's slight established kind of a product aspect of it, we have a senior leader taking care of it, and then sort of move on to fight the new challenges that this particular technology forces. So that way, I think we are in a good shape right now, and the next inflection point is our international expansion, which I hope to see this year as a team to move forward beyond India, of course, make and established in India and beyond India in some sense. And I guess there's no stopping, because though our technology is now proven and we definitely wanted to focus on one problem, that's breast cancer, but there's no reason why this should be only for breast cancer, right? It's a technology that we have developed and can be used for several other type of cancers, because all other type of cancers, or many of those, also depict a similar thermal signature that we can fine tune. So not just for cancer as well, this can be used for several other type of abnormalities in the body. So this is just a beginning, in my opinion, and we have a really huge opportunity in front of us to use our patented technology for making a new platform for detecting abnormalities in the body in a non-invasive, non-contact, in a way that health worker can do it, right? And in a very affordable manner inside a hospital or outside a hospital. So I think it's huge opportunity. And we can't do it alone as a startup. We have to partner with the ecosystem in doing so. Every partnership is also an inflection point. So I look forward to these additional inflection points that come in to take the solution to every lady on earth.
Thank you so much, Geetha. It's been a pleasure to host you on the podcast. It's phenomenal what
Thanks a lot.
you create, and I hope the adoptions happen fast so that we see people not suffering because of breast cancer in the society. Right? The prevention becomes much more at the first step rather than people discovering it at the stage 4. I hope Niramai is able to bring that change at a very large scale.
Thank you so much, Siddharth. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And just to let I came to this program right after a mega webinar or seminar that we conducted on cancer awareness on the occasion of the World Cancer Day on February 4th. And we said this: prevention is better than cure. Definitely, everyone knows this. Prevention is more affordable than cure. Prevention is also much easier than cure, right? So I think it's very important to have our mindset on prevention, regular screening, wellness, taking care of lifestyle, and so on. And these AI-enabled point of care devices, which help us take care of our health in a quantitative fashion. I think that's very, very important. And thank you very much for providing me this platform to sort of reach to a few more people who can take care of their health and hopefully, partner with Niramai in making this happen to everyone in the world. Thank you so much.